Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Allison. I'm 29 years old. I currently work full-time in healthcare, but that will be changing shortly. I post a lot of videos about personal finances, my own debt payoff journey, and lifestyle content, and I kind of just share how I balance all of that together. As many of you know, I am going part-time starting in January. So today's video is going to be all about why I made that decision and how me and my husband are making that work for us financially. A little bit about what I do for work, because I do try to keep it pretty separate. I try not to talk too much about what I do for work just because healthcare can be a little bit strict on social media policies, which is totally valid. But I am a radiation therapist, which means I work on the machines that help treat people who have cancer. Because radiation oncology is different than radiology. So I work in radiation oncology. I do have a bachelor's degree in radiation therapy. I do like what I do. It is just very taxing, I would say, physically and mentally. Obviously, I work with cancer patients. It can be very emotional sometimes. And it also is a pretty physical job. We're lifting patients, we're sliding patients if they're inpatient in the hospital, we're lifting heavy equipment. It is a very physical job, but I do like it. It's rewarding and I get to help people. So I do enjoy my job. It is just a very active, physical, emotional job. Not many people know about this specialty within medical imaging. I didn't until I looked it up and saw what it was. It is a very small niche field to go into, which is something I will also go into a little bit later as to why I can't just get a new job. So that is what I do. I work, typically my schedule is 7 to 3:30 every fourth week. As of right now, I go in at 6:30 and 6:30 to 3. We take turns rotating who goes in early because we need to start getting the machines ready. We have to run a bunch of tests and quality assurance checks on the machines. So every fourth week, I have to be there at 6:30. The problem is I live an hour away from where I work, which, to be fair, I knew that. Obviously, I knew that when I took the job. In 2023, we moved from the South Shore of Massachusetts, right above Cape Cod, to Pennsylvania. It wasn't an easy decision, but we knew it was something that we kind of needed to do because Massachusetts is insanely expensive. And between the two of us, we were not making enough money to ever buy a house there, basically, or we'd be in an insane amount of debt for the rest of our lives. We started seriously looking at where to move. As I mentioned earlier, the problem is with having a very niche degree and what I can do is that not every hospital has a cancer center. Not every hospital has radiation therapy. At the time, there was nothing in the area of Pennsylvania that we were moving to that had a job opening for what I do. Now, I did know that they were opening a new cancer center 10 minutes away from where I work when we decided to move, which was another perk of moving here, is that there is a cancer center potentially opening in June of this year. Back when we moved here, I said, okay, if that opens, I don't know. I'm not 100% positive I'll get a job there. It doesn't hurt that I've been living in this area. I now have had experience working. If they're looking for 4 or 5 people to hire for this new facility, I would maybe be a good choice for them, considering I already live in the area. Obviously, I'm not guaranteed to work there, but I thought, okay, I can commute for a short period of time. I didn't quite know what I was getting myself into, having an hour commute. Everyone was like, oh my God, that's a lot. I didn't think it was gonna be that bad, to be honest. And some days it's not. And honestly, on the way to work, I don't mind it, really. It's just when I'm coming home from work, because at that point I'm I want to be home. I don't want to be in the car for an hour. And then there's been days where there's been a lot of traffic on the way home, so it takes me even longer, or it takes me a back road to get home. I wasn't quite aware of the effect of having an hour commute would have on me, especially after a year and a half now. It's honestly not the worst situation, really. But that was one of the main reasons why we chose to move here, was because, so we live in an area where my husband's family is from. This is actually where me and my husband met because we both went to school. We went to the same college when I was getting my like first degree. So we did meet in college. We met in this area. I'm familiar with this area. I've lived here for like 5 years when I was in school, and it's a lot cheaper. We can buy a house, and I even knew I was looking at the prices of houses here is like half the price of the houses in Massachusetts, and they're bigger here. I was thinking ahead and saying to myself, okay, if we move here where it's cheaper to live and I'm getting paid more, which I'll go more into in a minute, it makes way more sense for us to move here and me have a little bit of have a longer commute. I kind of knew in my head that I would eventually be able to go part-time, which that has always been my goal. Not for any other reason than the fact that like when I have children, I want to be able to be part-time and spend time with them. So it all just kind of worked out where going part-time in January, obviously I don't have kids yet, makes sense for us for a few reasons. This story is hard to follow, I will say, because, okay, so I got offered the job. I knew I was gonna have to commute an hour. Again, I did get offered more money to work where I am now, which I kind of was surprised about because I was working like outside of Boston, so you would think that I would get paid decently there, but no, I think it's because it's a very saturated area and there's a lot of people trying to get jobs there. Whereas where I moved, it's not a very desirable area to live, so there isn't a lot, like they were kind of struggling to find somebody. So the fact that I wanted to work there, they offered me a little bit more so that I would take the job, obviously, and it worked. That's why it kind of made sense to us. And then I was thinking, okay, so even if I take this job and work part-time eventually, I will still, like, I've already lived my life making less, if that makes sense. Like, when I lived in Boston, I was making less, and I was living my life totally fine. And now, when we live here, I can work part-time and live my life and be around the same, but, like, still a little bit less part-time, but I'll still be around the same amount that I was making, but part-time. And I know how to live my life based on a smaller budget. So the reason I really stuck it out though for the last year was because we were getting married. I was getting my master's degree, so I had payments for that. I was getting my coding course certificate. So this last year it was kind of like hustle, grind, get everything done that you want to get done and pay for it all when you have a higher income. And then in January, go part-time and live your life and still be able to pay all your bills. One of the main reasons that it's working for us financially is because this whole year, every single paycheck, I've had to take $400, $300, $400 to pay for school, to pay for save for the wedding, to pay off my credit card. So I've kind of already been living with a lower income because all of that extra money has been going towards like other things, which again, I knew that this year I was going to try and like do it all and get it all finished. So next year I have nothing. Like I have nothing really planned besides buying a house. Yes, that is a big purchase, but we have the down payment and we know what our budget is for the house. Like we have an idea of what we want to spend and what we want our monthly payment to be. And again, I still know that I will be able to pay for that with a lower income because it will be pretty much around what I'm saving now for rent anyway. Would be going towards the mortgage. Essentially, I've been preparing myself and getting myself into a situation where next year, like I don't have any credit card debt. I don't have any monthly payments for anything. I'm not saving huge chunks of money for a wedding. It would be nice to have that extra money to like save for the house, but we have a decent amount already saved for the house. To have a better work-life balance means more to me than like having a couple extra $100 to save for a house. In all honesty, I went through everything in my budget that like is bills, subscriptions, expenses, gas, food, anything like that, and kept relatively the same budget that I've been using, and I was still able to pay for everything. I just don't have that extra like couple $100 that I've been putting towards like my credit card. But now I don't have a credit card payment, so I don't even have to worry about that. I hope that makes sense. If you do have any other like clarifying questions, let me know in the comments because I kind of like loosely wrote down like the points that I wanted to like focus on here, but it's hard to like kind of put it into words and make sense in my head when I'm talking about it. The main factor in me doing this was my mental health, and again, the long commute was really getting to me. The job itself is a lot. I just felt like it's not the best work situation in general, so then like I'm frustrated at work, and then I also feel like I don't have a good work-life balance, and then I'm also driving a lot, and it just kind of all was like the perfect storm where I was like, I'm getting pretty miserable. It's not like I don't like where I'm working. There's good things about where I'm working. It is pretty relaxed. Taking time off is pretty easy. There's good things about where I work versus like I've only ever worked one other place, and there was a lot more like strict rules. So I like where I work. I like my direct supervisor. She's awesome. Very flexible and works with you to like come to a solution to things. And now obviously after a year and a half, I do feel comfortable there. I felt like a good solution was continue to work there, just work less days. Another thing to mention is I'm going on to my husband's benefits. So like now that we're married, it makes sense for us to combine some stuff, and like by doing this, it's saving us money in the long run. So I am going on to his benefits. So in January, I will get my yearly 3% raise, and I will also no longer have money taken out for like medical, dental, vision. I don't have a good idea of exactly what my paycheck is going to be, but I actually don't think it's going to be like too much less than what it was. Well, it will be, but it also won't be as low as like what I'm kind of calculating. I feel like I'm calculating it on the lower end, and then we'll see what like my average paycheck is going to be. Also, we worked out a situation where, you know, I'm not opposed to like picking up an extra day every now and then. Like even in January, I'm working an extra Friday, and that will help too with like getting a little bit of extra money. It's more just I don't want to have to be there 5 days a week. Now I can kind of figure out, like I can kind of choose. Like I have to be there 3 days a week, but I can also figure out, like I can also be like, okay, I can work a couple extra days this month, or no, I can't. I feel like most likely I'll be working 3 or 4 days, but you know, if someone goes on vacation, it'll probably be 5 days. So it should be interesting. My kind of set schedule as of right now is Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, which is super exciting. I feel like that is kind of best case scenario. I get Fridays off and Wednesdays, so it's really nice. Having Fridays off is good for multiple reasons, because traffic on Fridays is always like the worst. So now I don't have to worry about that. I will say I'm very fortunate that I'm able to do that. I know this. This has honestly been the plan for a long time, because again, I knew that this whole year I've been making extra payments to like a lot of things, and like big chunks of money from every paycheck have been going different places, and now I don't have to worry about that anymore. I said this earlier, I could use that extra money to pay off my car quicker or have more savings for the house, but in my heart and my soul and my head, it's not worth it because I'm miserable. So that's how it's all kind of working out. Oh, and as I mentioned in the beginning, I want to go I've always wanted to go part-time when I have kids anyway, just to help with us. Well, one, because I want to be there with my kids and I don't want to miss things. I've worked with so many people when I worked at my old job who miss their kids' like recitals or soccer games or whatever because of work. And I don't want that to have to be the thing, you know what I mean? No matter what, I'll probably miss a few things, but I don't want to miss like everything. I'd rather be there and spend time with my kids when they're young, when it matters the most. So I think a good thing about going part-time now is that me and my husband will know what it's like to live with a lower budget, and we'll be like more prepared when we have a kid, versus like if I was still working full-time and then just like cut back my hours once we had a kid, I feel like maybe it would be a little bit more of a shock. So now we'll be able to kind of figure out more what's going to work for us, what's not, where again, when we have a kid, where we even need to cut back even more. I think overall it's good for us as a couple. It's good for me as myself. And I think it will be good for us in many ways because my energy is so low all the time. Like one day, I think I had a day off a couple weeks ago, and like we went out on a Thursday night, and my husband will do anything always. And he's like, this will be so nice when you're not working because like you'll want to like go out more. And I'm like, yes. The only reason I don't now is because I have to go to sleep so early because I have to get up so early the next day, and if I don't get enough sleep, I'm grumpy. I think it's going to be good for us as a couple as well because I'm going to be a little bit happier and have more energy and just like want to do more things. I feel like right now, every single day I live the same day over and over again, and then I also on the weekends do the same thing because I need to get like a lot of content done, and I need to do laundry, I need to do meal prepping, and I need to film videos. So every weekend looks the same as well, and I feel like we kind of are not making enough time for each other even because I have no time. I feel like I don't have enough time for anything. So now that I have 2 extra days, I can do filming on those days when he's working. I can do laundry. I don't even necessarily need to meal prep really because like 2 days and then I'll have Wednesday off, so I can just make whatever I need for Thursday. So I feel very, very good about this decision. Will it be a little bit of a challenge? Absolutely. A learning curve? Definitely. And will I have to be very, very strict with my budget? Absolutely. Overall, I think it's like the best decision for me and my husband, and we're gonna make it work. So, and I just obviously need to be a stay-at-home cat mom. Like, look at this little guy. He's actually obsessed with me. I tried to get him off my lap like 3 times before filming this, and he kept coming back onto my lap. He needs me at home. That's my little story on why I'm going part-time, how I'm making it work. And obviously I'll do an update like a couple months into the new year. I'll let you guys know like how it's going, if it is working, if I'm in over my head. But I think it's gonna be totally fine. I just have to be a little bit more strict with my budget. And that's obviously one of the main goals for me anyway. Now that I feel like I'm finally in like a good financial spot, I need to just bear down. So yeah, anyway, if you have any other questions or anything, leave them down in the comments. And thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.